So it's nice to be here. So Om Ganat Mirandasha Gananjana Shlagaya Chakshur Urminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Hold on a second. There we go. So, we are gathered here today to celebrate this initiation into the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So many of you may be wondering what initiation is. So that's a big question. So generally when you have the word initiation, it means to begin something. So what are they beginning and what are they doing? What promises are they making and what will go on with their lives after initiation? And what is the goal of their life? These are different questions that need to be answered. So, first of all, let's talk about the goal of life. What is the goal of life? I mean, a life without any goal is a worthless life. You have absolutely no goal, just to eat and sleep and get older and die and then be born again and eat, sleep. I left out two. Make and defend. And get older again and die again. That's called samsara. Samsara means the repetition of birth and death. And you don't know where you're going in the next life. You can't plan it out. You can't say, like, well, I want to buy a house in Hamilton, so I want a body in Hamilton. I want to be born in a rich family. I want to have a wife who listens to me. Impossible. So, that's called the impossible dream. Anyway, so you want all these things, but you can't order what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen in the next life. So you're in a very insecure position in this life and then eternally. Padam padam yad, vipadam natesham. There's question, danger at every step. So, and then you have no goal. So, what are you doing? So, therefore, it's important to understand where you're going. You can determine where you're going to a certain extent. You can determine where you're going to be in the future. You can determine how happy you're going to be, but not through material means. Doesn't work like that. Through material means you cannot determine, especially the happiness. But spiritually, you can determine that. So everyone wants to be happy. And where does happiness come from? It's not something you can touch. As we say, it's not something that's tangible. It comes from the heart. And that coming from the heart is not something that comes through external arrangements or material arrangements, as we would say. That happiness comes from a connection with the source of happiness. We're talking about Krishna. So, what does the name Krishna mean that we're all chanting? You know, Krishna. Okay, let's define the word. We're chanting Hare Krishna, but let's start with Krishna. So, Krish means to attract. Because Krishna is the most attractive person. He's the richest person, the most handsome person, right? Like I was just told the other day that some handsome kirtan leader came to the temple and all the girls were fainting. And they were fighting each other. He's mine. He's mine. He's mine. He's mine. And that reminds me of a story in the Bhagavatam. There was one Shobari Muni, you may know this story, and he looked quite ugly. So he had a problem. He wanted to find a wife. He went to the king, I want a wife. There's a whole more to the story than this, but I'm not going to tell the whole story. And so he went to the king, King Mandata, and he said, you have so many daughters, 50 daughters, so I want to find a wife. So the king looked at him and said, he's ugly. Because he'd been meditating in the water, so it was all wrinkles. I don't know if any of you go swimming here. When you go swimming, stay in the water for a long time, your skin gets wrinkled, and you're covered with seaweed or whatever. He looked quite ugly. So the king was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? If I say he can't marry someone, one of my daughters, then at that point, he's going to curse me. He's a powerful sage. Because he was meditating under the water. He could stop his breathing. He was a yogi. And so, he said to the sage that any of my daughters who want to marry you can marry you. It's like a trick thing. He's thinking, no one's going to want to marry this guy. So the sage thinks, all right. But he understands it's a trick, so he uses mystic power to make himself look young and handsome, and he goes into the woman's ashram, Brahmacharya ashram, and he says, girls, who wants me? And they were fighting, he's mine, he's mine. And so he said, no problem. I'm a yogi, I can marry all of you. So there he was with 50 wives. Pretty nice. So that's a good reason for learning the yoga system, right? So you're going to get nagged 50 times. So anyway, so getting back to the point. So, people are attracted to someone who's handsome, and the man, they're attracted to someone who's beautiful. But who was more beautiful and handsome, whatever, than Krishna? That's why it's called Krishna, Krish, attract. Who was richer than Krishna? Like if some rich man came in here, everyone would stand up. Like, who am I thinking of? Oh, Elon Musk becomes one of the richest men, is it? Sanatan I'm going to go up to him and say, I'm Sanatan. Would you like to invest in my business? So anyway, everybody, because if we are attracted to rich people, famous people, some Bollywood actor, actress came in, let's say Akshay Kumar came in here. You all know Akshay Kumar? No. It says, I told the story that I gave him the Bhagavad Gita once, and the only way I could see him was dangling a young girl in front of him, and then he'd follow her to my house. So we have tricks to meet Bollywood stars. I'm giving you away my trick. So anyway, he came in here, famous. Wow, look in the back, that's him. Oh. Nobody would pay attention to class. This old guy giving class, but there's this famous guy. Nobody's heard of me. So anyway, or renunciation. If we find some sage who's been meditating in the Himalayas for the last 500 years, and he hasn't eaten or drunk anything, then we pay him attention. He's a very attractive type of person. Strong. So all these are different opulences, and that's why Krishna's called Bhagavan. Bhagavan means he's full of opulences, completely, unlimitedly. We were just reading in one book, the Chaitanya Bhagavat, that even Krishna has his expansion, Seshanag, who is basically trying to glorify Krishna with his 1,000 heads. Whoops. That's a lot of mouths. 1,000 heads, you get 1,000 mouths. It's better than your friend Robin. So anyway, he's trying to glorify. He never comes to the end of the glorification of Krishna. That's how amazing Krishna is. You could go on glorifying, and Krishna's glories increase and increase and increase. That's why he's called Krishna. Krish. And then Na. What does Na mean? Na means two different things. Na means to negate all your suffering. And also means Nanda. It's short for Ananda, which means happiness. So everybody wants to be happy and have no suffering. And so that's Krishna. So why are we mentioning the name Krishna? Because Krishna is the same as his name. When you hear the name chanted by a real devotee, then you get attracted. That's happened to me. Many of you heard the story. I was just an ordinary rascal many years ago. And I heard Prabhupada chanting on the radio. And here I am today as a sannyasi. Don't worry, it won't happen to you. You won't be sitting as a sannyasi, giving initiation, getting everyone's karma. Maybe you will. That's all. I mean, just that name was so attractive. I heard it for a few minutes on the radio. And that was it. Because Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnashita Nityamukto Vinatvam Nami. No, Krishna's not different from his name. So you can associate with the most famous person, most beautiful person, most attractive person, strongest person, whatever, most renounced person, just by going Hare Krishna. Wow! So we're initiating people into chanting Hare Krishna. Now, you may say, well, what about Hare? Why not just chant Krishna, 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 Krishna? Well, you need special mercy. You need mercy because Krishna has some prerequisites before you can connect with him. Krishna in the Gita, those of you who are familiar with the Gita, has this verse, Sarva dharman parityāja mamekam sharanam braja. Aham tvam sarvapapevyo mokshayashamimasa. You got to surrender. That's actually a scary word. I say that to my disciples and they run away. Krishna Chandra said, you got to surrender. He says, Guru Maharaj, can I get a second opinion? No, he doesn't. I'm just teasing him. Can I have a second opinion, Guru Maharaj? So, but Krishna really, what does surrender mean? Okay. That means to give your heart to Krishna. It's not some heavy thing. It means giving your heart, simply wanting to love and please Krishna and reciprocate with Krishna. That's what Krishna means there. It doesn't mean anything heavy. But still, it's a high bar to jump over. By that I mean, if you've ever seen someone who's a high jumper in the Olympics, they put the bar very high. And many people, they just kick the bar, they go under the bar, and they don't win. So it's very high. How are you going to surrender to Krishna? Therefore, we need special mercy, and that's where Hare comes in. So, Hare refers to Srimati Radha Rani. She is the feminine counterpart of Krishna. The Shakti, the Adi Shakti of Krishna. And being feminine, Krishna is definitely masculine. Men tend to be a little tough. But the ladies are very soft-hearted. We gave the example, many times I give this example. Ladies at a marriage cry. Men don't cry. Right? Anyway, I won't tell her that joke. I'm not going to say men cry after the marriage. So I'm not going to tell you that joke. I'm just So anyway. So he told me to say it. So ladies are very soft-hearted. So Srimati Radharani is so soft-hearted. And she's called by Hare, which means in the vocative, oh, Radha. Please let, and she is non-different from her name too. So, wow. Oh, Radha. Oh, Krishna. And then we get to Ram. Ram means, of course, those of you from Fiji, Lord Ram. For those of you from Goloka Vrindavan, like me, Radha Raman, or Balaram. Yes, Ram refers to all these different personalities. So there's Radharani again. Even in Ram, you got Radharani there. So we're dependent on Radharani's mercy. Radharani. So that's why when we chant their name, we become ecstatic. The pure devotees, they pray, what? For millions and millions of tongues and mouths. And that's not enough. So this initiation is into the chanting. Those who are taking first initiation is into the chanting of this ecstatic mantra. If you chant without offense, which I'm going to mention, obviously, then it becomes more and more ecstatic. And I'll mention the offenses to avoid, so you can experience ecstasy. Why should I avoid offenses? Because you want to be happy. You want to connect with Krishna. You want to have a loving relationship with Krishna. We all want that loving relationship with the most attractive person. So, offenses very quickly, all 10 of them, 11 actually. One is, don't criticize other people who are engaged in preaching or teaching people, is not the word preaching, teaching people about God in any religion. Don't criticize them, blaspheme them, do anything that's negative towards them. Serve them. That's the first consideration. The second consideration, which may apply to some of you, is don't think of the names of other people, especially the demigods, to be equal to or independent of Krishna's name. The names of the demigods are just names of their position. Like I have a position. One of my positions is GBC, big guy. Great big, that's what GB stands for. Governing body commission. It's a position. It's not me. I temporarily have a position. I'm serving. My eternal position is serving Krishna eternally. It's Radha Krishna eternally. But the demigods like Indra, Vayu, Varuna, it's just their position name. Brahma, that's a position. So they are not different from their names. So Krishna is non-different from his name, and you won't get anything out of just serving the demigods other than trouble. So don't consider it like that. So, and then the third offense is to disobey the spiritual master. So we're not saying this just because we want obedient people. Right? Oh God, I get to get obedient disciple. I discovered it didn't work on that. So, we're saying that because one spiritual master will give one spiritual advice. The spiritual master doesn't run your material life. Don't ask your guru, who should I marry? Some of the disciples do. I come up with some suggestions, maybe him, or him. So that we do. But it's your decision. So don't ask your spiritual master for business advice. What stock should I invest in? But, and if he gives you your opinion, his opinion, that's a different thing. But the point is, the spiritual master gives spiritual advice, chant the holy names. The spiritual master understands your psychophysical nature, what level of advancement you're at, and gives you appropriate instructions. Okay, so next offense to be avoided is to blaspheme Vedic literatures or literatures that teach the same thing. That means in any religion. So we glorify literatures that teach about God in any name. Krishna, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever. So we're very, very important. So these offenses are very important to avoid. So next offense to avoid is to think that the glories of chanting of Hare Krishna are imaginary. Next offense is to give some crazy interpretation about the holy names. Next offense is to do what we call commit sins on the strength of chanting. That means use the chanting. Even though the chanting gets rid of your karma, don't use it to continue, let's say, drinking alcohol and chanting Hare Krishna in between each cup. Not a good idea. And thinking you're going to be free from bad karma. Next offense is to think that chanting is like a ritual. I mean, you have so many rituals, depending what part of India you come from, what part of Fiji you come from, what your tradition is, you have a different ritual, right? Some people, with a death ritual, they do 11 days, 12 days, 21 days. These are rituals. These are not the same. It's a tradition. You can follow your tradition. I'm not criticizing traditions. However, the chanting of the holy name is completely transcendental. Cannot be compared to any of those things. Or even things that I do. I mean, I don't do any rituals. But let's say I'm wearing a dhoti. That's a tradition. I have this thing in the back of my head called a Sika. It's a tradition. Some devotees think that traditions get you back to Godhead. For example, when I first took part in the Krishna conscious movement, the devotees told me the Sika is there so that Krishna can pull you back to Godhead. And I said, what if someone's bald? And I said, if it's there to pull you back to Godhead, I better have a full head of hair. Like the ladies, so they get to go back to Godhead faster than me. Because Krishna could just grab them. So, anyway, it's a ritual, we follow it, it's a tradition, but the chanting is fully transcendental. And the next offense is to be careful how you explain transcendental knowledge of the glories of the holy name to those who may not appreciate it. In other words, adjust your presentation of Krishna consciousness according to time, place, and circumstance. Otherwise, what is it? Upadesho vimurkanam prakopaya nashantaye. If you give someone who is not so intelligent good instruction, what happens? Anyone know? They get angry. And so, that should be avoided. Another thing to be avoided is inattentive chanting. You understand? Not being attentive while you're chanting the holy names. So if you can avoid these different pitfalls, rather than using the word offense, because then it's a real heavy word. If you can, I left out the not having complete faith in the holy name of the Lord and maintaining material attachments. So if you can avoid these pitfalls, you make quicker advancement. And you become happier and happier and happier. And on the positive note, how should you chant? We should chant like a child crying out for his or her mother. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishme bhavam buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja sita duli sadrasam vachintaya. Son of Maharaj Nanda, I'm your eternal servant, but somehow or other I've fallen down in this horrible material world. Please help me, fix me up at your lotus feet. So we chant with that mood, and that's initiation. Now, also, okay, here's the tough one. We have 4 regulator principles. That's a tough one. I got the easy stuff out of the way. So, 4 regulator principles, people take it in first initiation. Second initiation, hopefully they've already been following it. Means no meat, fish, or eggs, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. Okay? got rid of those quickly. So, no, seriously, why did we pick these 4? Why didn't we pick something easier? Like no cabbage. Right? That's easy. I mean, everybody can love cabbage. So, except for me. I like cabbage. So, we picked those. We didn't pick those. There's a scientific reason. Because these things, first of all, bring you down to the lower modes of nature, the mode of ignorance. What's the problem with the mode of ignorance? Misery. No happiness, just misery. So, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling, meat eating. And secondly, or maybe even more important, you get bad karma. If you go, for example, to KFC and get some nice murgies there, then you will be a chicken in your next life. And you will be sold at the same store. You imagine all that? That was my friend, Joe. So, bad karma. Who wants bad karma? I want transcendental life. But for those of you who are into karma, we don't want bad karma. Bad karma covers your consciousness, takes you away from Krishna, puts you in the mode of ignorance. And so that's why we avoid these 4 things. There's a reason. It's scientific. This is a scientific process to become happy, to connect with Krishna, to understand our eternal identity. Each and every one of us has an eternal identity of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Wow. And we have a relationship with Krishna as Krishna's servant, Krishna's worshiper, Krishna's friend. Wouldn't it be nice to play with Krishna? Isn't it? Just imagine. You can play rugby with Krishna. Those of you from Fiji. Or you can play cricket with Krishna. Those of you from India. What's the main game here in New Zealand? Soccer? Oh, rugby. Okay, so can you imagine doing that with Krishna? Wouldn't that be fun? Or Krishna can be your son. Or if you're really deep into it, you can be Krishna's lover. And that's in store for you. That's the future. That's a nice future, isn't it? So, that's the benefit of taking up Krishna consciousness, taking up this chanting and following Krishna consciousness. So, we have one, that's the first initiation, and devotees are promising voluntarily. It has to be based on their strength. You know, they can't say, Guru Maharaj, give me the strength to follow the 4 elected principles, please. No, the strength hasn't come from you. If you sincere, Krishna will enable you to have the strength. So, it's there. And then, second initiation, very, very quickly, it means Brahman initiation. Someone becomes like a priest or minister or Brahman. Not to lord it over others. Like you see in India, someone is a Brahmin, do you think they're better than everyone else? That's not the case. A real Brahmin is Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarar Ivas Yishruna, Amanina Manadena. Humble, ready to serve others, because a real Brahmin is Vidya Vinaya Sampane, Brahmani Gavi Hastani, Shuni Chaivas Vapake Cha Pandita Savadarshana. For those who don't know Sanskrit, it means you see everyone equally. You don't think you're better. If someone thinks they're better than others, he's not a Brahmin. He's a Shudra. Try that in India. Go up to the ritualistic Brahmins and say, you think you're better than these other people. You're a Shudra. Because you're not seeing everyone equally. Even all the animals. You don't see them equally. So, Pandita Samadarshana. And a Brahmana is compassionate. A Vaishnava Brahman especially. Tatikshava Kurunika Surada Sarvadena. He's tolerant, compassionate. And of course, we always recite the time of second initiation. This verse from the Bhagavad Gita. A Brahman is sama, he's equal poised in all circumstances. Samadhamma, he's controlling his senses. Dapa, he's accepting things that are favorable, pleasing to Krishna, and rejecting things that are unfavorable. The Bhakshocha, he's clean, tolerant, religious, honest, all these qualities that are attractive qualities. If one's a real Brahmin, someone will be attracted to you. Be honest, dharmic, that is nice, following the rules and regulations, but also loving all creatures. A Brahmin has no enemies. That's the quality. Jata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava. Sadhabhushana. He's a sadhu. So that's what we're attempting to develop. That's the essence of a Brahmin, by qualities, not by janma, not by birth. So this is the second initiation. One is being qualified, but has to come up to the qualities. Just like the first initiation, you start, you give someone an opportunity. Second initiation, you start, you give yourself an opportunity. But you do not become a Brahmin because of some 10-cent thread. Prabhupada said, Prabhupada is the founder of Charter ISKCON, and all of us actually are promising to serve Prabhupada's mission and accept Prabhupada's Siksha as our primary Siksha. But Prabhupada said, if someone has a thread, this is a thread, not exactly a thread, it's a string. It's called the sacred thread, but it's actually not a thread. These are strings. So if someone has this thread, string, whatever, and they don't have those qualities that I just mentioned, you can call them a sacred thread holder, not a Brahmin. The Brahmin is one who knows Brahman, sees everyone equally, and that's really what we want in the Krishna consciousness movement. And those in first initiation should be thinking like that too. Ultimately, they'll be taking second initiation, hopefully. And they serve the deities in the temple. It's an opportunity of service and an opportunity to preach. Yajan, what is that verse? Dana Pratigraha. So they perform sacrifice, teach others to perform sacrifice. They give charity, accept charity, like that. Patan Patana, Yajan Patan Patana, Dana Pratigraha. That's interesting, that's the verse. So, and that's in essence initiation. So they're making promises to fulfill these particular objectives, and it's for their benefit, not for my benefit. What I get is the karma. What they get is the ecstasy. It's not a good deal. But why am I doing this? Because that's what Prabhupada wants me to do. I am Srila Prabhupada's servant. And so Prabhupada is indicating that I should be doing this, taking responsibility. But, I mean, I would be happy sitting at Govardhan. Everyone knows where Govardhan is? Chanting the holy names. Hey Radhe Brajadevake. Hey Nanda Shunokuta. Krishna, where are you? Radharani, where are you? But now I'm thinking, disciple, where are you? A disciple, kuta. So it's an austerity. I mean, of course, I like talking. That's not an austerity. I have to admit that. So, but it's an austerity accepting disciples. We're doing this to please Prabhupada, Krishna, Radharani, our disciplic succession. And on that standpoint, it makes me very happy. So there's not a personal interest, but there's an interest by Krishna and Radha and Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much. So we'll proceed, I guess, with the name giving, right? So, all right. let's take out the Java beads. I have it here, so I hope. Whose bead bag is this? What? This is not mine.
No, that's Riku's.
This is Ricul's.
So this one is also Riku's.
That's Ricul's job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the round one that I gave you was.
Okay. So what's going to happen is the first devotees who are taking first initiation will first offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, and then offer obeisances to the deities, and then come here and offer obeisances to my not so humble self. People always say, please accept my humble obeisances. I'm thinking, humble? I know what it means, something else. Okay, so Rikil, no, I'm not done. We'll come right after that. What's that? I have the other beads inside my bead bag. I gotta pick a name. I have a list. What I usually do with these initiations, I just ask for Krishna's inspiration, and I have a whole list of possible names in front of me, and I pick them right at the end. So many nice names. So many nice Krishna conscious names. All right. Okay. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, so then we formally make their promise about. So, Rikil, I've known him for a long time. Well, you can sit at the same time, that's all right. And his good friend Sonata came away from Fiji to witness this. So, what are the 4 regular principles?
No meat eating, no egg, no fish, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication.
How many rounds a day?
16 rounds.
60 rounds minimum, and if you can chant more in the Ekadasi, it's up. I mean, that's not mandatory.
25 rounds?
Well, it's not mandatory. Prabhupada said not to make it mandatory, so I'm not making it mandatory. You know, what I try to do on the Ekadasi is if Krishna Chandra is not around, I'll chant a lot more rounds. But he just engages me all day long. I'm doing other things for him. So, anyway, so you get the beads, and I have 2 names in mind right now. Okay, so your name, I'll get the beads with your right hand, is Ram Prasad. Okay. Oh, your bead bag. Here we go. Ram Prasad Ki Jai. Means basically, it doesn't necessarily mean the food of Lord Ram. The word prasad actually means mercy. The mercy of Lord Ram. Try to understand that, because usually we use the word prasad, when is prasad? It's like saying, when is mercy? When do I get mercy? But it actually means, usually for us it means one's food. Offering food. So, what are the 4 regular principles? Okay, that's very good. How many rounds every day? 16. It comes from a great Vaishnava family. Where's your beads? Yeah, these are the beads I chanted on. So, I got a whole list of different names for you. It's actually exciting to do this. I mean, I could have done it earlier, but it's exciting. I write down the potential names. Okay. God, so many nice names. You want 3 names or 4 names? Oh my God, what a nice name. Okay, phew. So your name now, you get the beads with your right hand, is Nitya Radhika Devidasi. Nitya Radhika Devidasi ki jai. Okay, and our Brahman. Okay, you come up, you have to offer obeisances too, and that way. And I'm going to give you a Brahman thread. If I can untangle it from all these water barrels. So, Brahmins are also given a mantra or different mantras which are called Gayatri mantras. And Gayatri means that which is sung. So these are mantras that don't supplant or substitute for the Hare Krishna mantra, but they connect one with, more tightly with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master, and with Srimati Radharani ultimately. So they actually deepen one's connection. And they also help one stay in the mode of goodness. It's called Gayatri mantras. So, you ready? Mala. Dhanyavad. Okay. Oh, thank you. So take off the upper cloth. Okay. And put your right arm and your head through there, and you can sit down. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So all this is by the mercy of Prabhupada. If Prabhupada hadn't come to the Western world, none of us would be sitting here. We should always remember our connection with Prabhupada and regularly read Srila Prabhupada's books, try to imbibe the knowledge in Srila Prabhupada's books, try to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada. What is the mission of Srila Prabhupada? More devotees, happier devotees. If I were to put it in a nutshell, one sentence, more devotees, happier devotees, more Krishna conscious devotees. That's the mission. And you assist in the temple here. We should all assist in whatever way possible. Okay, thank you. So our Brahman can continue with Parasat. So I don't need the microphone. All glory is to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Give him the microphone so he can.
Please everyone, please repeat after me. Om Ajnana Nidandasya Jnananjana
Kaya
Chakshur
Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Chaitanya Vishtam Stapitam Rupa Ramayam Ate Vedantikam Bring the whole table over. Devam Sarvekam Sarvadutam Parishana Raitam Krishna Devam Srirata Krishna Padam Adana Varita Sri Sakam Cha Swaha
Namo Vishnupadaya
Krishna
Krishnaya
Utale Shimate
Krishna Goswami Iti Namine Swaha Namo Vishnupadaya
Vishnupadaya
Utale Shrimate
Bhaktivedanta Amen Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Charine Vivishesa Adi Ratchatya Swaha
Namo
Vishnupadaya Krishnaya Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Namane Vivarsha Anuvidevi Haritaya Kripapdeye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Ayane Bhagave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premaja Shri Upananda Bhaktida Shri Gora Shakti Vigrahaya Namaste Namaste Gauravani Shimurtaye Vinatarane Vanuga Vinudapa Papa,
Papa
Papa Siddhanta,
Kandharine
Kandaharane,
Swaha
Swaha,
Namo Gauragishwaraya
Gaurikeshwaraya,
Sakshat
Rakshat,
Vaidakya
Vairagya, Murte,
Pranamba
Vikaranga,
Sambode
Sambode,
Patanjaya
Ram Pujaya,
Namaha
Te Namaha,
Swaha
Swaha,
Namo
Namo,
Vinodaya
Bhakti-vinodaya,
Satchidananda
Ananda, Namane,
Buddhakti Sarupaya
Rupaya,
Panuka
Paduka,
Sarayate
Varayate, Swaha,
Guru Abhava
Gaurabhibhava,
Umistam
Umeshtam,
Nidvishta
Yudeshta,
Janakriya
Janapraha,
Vaishnava
Vaishnava,
Sarvabhauma
Sarvabhauma, Sri
Jagannataya
Jagannataya, Te Namaha, Swaha,
Vanchakalpa
Vanchakalpa,
Rupasya
Rupyasya,
Vipasindhubhya
Vipasindhubhya,
Vacha
Devacha,
Aditanam
Aditanam,
Avadhyya
Vaishnavyo,
Vaishnavibhya
Vaishnavebhyo,
Namo Namaha
Om Namaha,
Swaha
Swaha,
Namo
Namo
Mahavadyaya
Bhagavadayaya,
Krishna
Krishna
Prema
Prema,
Pradayate
Pradayate,
Krishnaya
Krishnaya,
Krishna Chaitanya
Krishna Chaitanya, Namane, for it to say, Namaha, Swaha, Vancha, Akam, Krishnam, Bhaktarupa, Surupakam, Akavataram, Satyam, Namami, Bhaktashaktikam, Swaha, Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindho, Dinabandho, Karnapate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostute, Swaha, Jayatam, Surato, Bango, Mama, Mande, Matergati, Matsarasra, Madamboja, Radha, Madhumohano, Swaha, Divyad, Vrindaranya, Sapadramadaha, Srimad, Satnagara, Singhasanastho, Srimad, Radha, Shiva Govinda Devo, Kristalevi, Segamano, Smarami, Swaha, Sriman, Rasa Rasa Rambi, Vamsivada, Tatastataha, Karshan, Venu, Swadayar, Gopir, Gopinatha, Shri Esnunath, Swaha, Bhakti Kanchana, Gaurangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Vishwanu, Devi, Namani, Hare Priya, Swaha, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Vasadi, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Swaha,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Swaha
Swaha,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, very good.
Namo Brahmanya Devaya O Brahmanya Hidaya Cha Jagat-hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya O Brahmanya Hidaya Cha Jagat-hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya O Brahmanya Hidaya Cha Jagat-hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha
Okay, here,